Morning, Officer Nuri.
Nuri, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Any discussion issues? Attorney Robinson, any discovery issues?
No discovery issues, Judge.
Okay, would you look like a date?
Yes, Judge.
You said you think April 3rd. All right, how about April 4th at 10:30?
I have an exam downriver at noon, Judge. Is
How about
another
9?
day available?
Can you do earlier that morning? It could be the first exam.
It's pretty tight that day. Is the 5th available, Judge?
Yeah, we could do 9:30 or 10.
Either one.
Okay, let's do 9:30.
And Judge, I'd like to restate, if the prosecutor has any digital discovery, if they could send that to me.
Yeah, it could be sent up.
Okay, set for April 5th at 9:30. Anything else?
If I'd like to address bond, Judge.
Okay, go ahead.
Judge, my client did miss a court date prior. He was on a tether. He indicated that he was, for safety reasons is why he didn't come to court. He lives with family. He is employed. He does have ties to the community. I would ask that the bond be reduced.
We believe it was discretion of the court.
What do you mean he was concerned for his safety? I'm not familiar.
He had threats from people in the community.
So how's that gonna change for his next exam?
Well, things change with time, Judge.
Does it need to be addressed as far as who he's threatened by?
No, Judge, not at this time.
Did he call you and tell you what was going on before on the day of the exam?
No, Judge.
Okay. This isn't his first time failure to appear. I will address bond. I'm going to keep it as it is until we get an exam, which will be April 5th.
Thank you.
Okay. And there's one attorney with discovery issues on Winston.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, 1956101, People of the State of Michigan versus Reggie Winston. Mr. Winston is charged with one kind of controlled substance, delivering, manufacturing cocaine, heroin, or another narcotic less than 50 grams with a habitual offender. Second offense notice set for a PCC today with an exam scheduled for March 30th at 9:30. Appearances.
Alexander Kircher on behalf of the people, P86282.
Good morning, Your Honor. Romy Mezzi, appearing on behalf of Mr. Winston, P68245.
Is Mr. Winston present?
Your Honor, I don't believe he should be in the Wayne County Jail the last time we were here. So I don't see him though.
Would you like to waive his presence for the discussion of discovery?
I would, Your Honor. I'd waive his presence. He has a probation violation hold, and so he's got a probation pending, I think on March 23rd.
Okay. And you still don't have,
I don't, Your Honor. I thought I had given my email to the prosecutor, but I haven't received anything yet.
okay, Mr. Kirk.
Since this is an older file, we're discussing with our records department to find the file.
Okay, what I'm gonna do, I don't wanna keep just scheduling PCCs with no information as far as if even discovery exists.
Your Honor, I don't object if the court wants to make that April 5th date a preliminary exam date. I'll touch base with the prosecutor after I receive the discovery, visit with my client, and if we figure something out, I can inform the court before that date.
We have an exam set for the 30th of March.
The 30th of March, I mean, that's not going to give me enough time, Judge, to get this discovery and to go over with my client. I thought I would have had a couple of weeks. I would prefer the April 5th date. If my client has his probation violation hearing in front of the judge on the 23rd, he'll either remain in custody or they'll lift the hold and then he'll be out on bond. So I would ask the court to set it for April 5th if possible.
All right, April 5th, what time?
Morning is good for me, 9 o'clock, whatever the court prefers. I can do the afternoon. I can do later in the morning if the court has something else, whatever you prefer, Judge.
How about 10 o'clock?
That works for me.
Okay, anything else?
Your Honor, the prosecutor there, does he have my email?
I'm not sure.
I can, you want me to put it in the chat real quick before I leave?
Yeah, then I will give it to him.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Take care. Bye-bye.
I guess so. Already said she's waiting to say it.
She must have said that.
To me, yeah, okay. So it's Walred for O'Donnell said video.
I'm sorry, Judge, did the court get my email?
I just got it. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a good day, Judge. Have a good weekend.
You too. I'm just sending it to you.
The email address.
Yeah, it's just a.
Okay. No problem. It is a card for me.
You want to know?
Pardon?
You want to know that?
Sure.
ROMI. Oh, sorry. Okay, you just need a court, an exam date, can you please message the clerk so she can schedule the date? Attorney O'Donnell, I received your message. Okay, People versus Antoine Davis, 2258213. Mr. Davis is charged with one count of controlled substance delivery, manufacture, schedule 1, 2, and 3, except marijuana, methamphetamine, ecstasy, and cocaine. And count 2, controlled substance delivery, manufacture, schedule 4, except for PCC appearances.
Alexander Kirk on behalf of the people, P86282.
Good morning, Your Honor. James O'Donnell, P42585. I'm here on behalf of Mr. Antoine Davis. Mr. Davis, could you give the judge your name?
Antoine Derek Davis.
Judge, I'm
Okay.
prepared to set either another PCC or an exam date, as long as there's enough time for me to receive the interrogation video.
Mr. Kirk.
I can look at specifically if there's an interrogation video, but I do have that paper discovery was sent on the 13th and digital discovery was sent on the 14th.
I did receive paper discovery and I did receive the digital discovery comprising a video of my client in the back of a police car. But the police report seems to indicate that there was an interrogation at the Detroit Detention Center. And most of the time, from my experience, that results in a digital recording of the interrogation.
In that case, Your Honor, I can email the officer in charge to see if that such a video exists.
Okay, so Attorney O'Donnell, I'd like to set an exam and another PCC.
Very well, Your Honor.
Okay, so can you come back next week, on the 24th for another PCC at 8:45?
Let me look right now.
Or you can do the next week, it's fine.
24th is a good date, Your Honor.
Okay, let's do 8:45. And then for an exam date, let's see, April 5th, we're closed on the 6th and the 7th, and then we're moving into April 10th that week.
I'm good that week, Your Honor.
Okay. You want to do the 10th? Do you have any time in the morning?
Judge, I can be there anytime in the morning on the 10th.
Let's do 9 o'clock.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Mr. Davis, your exam has been set for in-person exam on April 10th at 9 o'clock a.m. We will also be back here next Friday on the 24th on Zoom at 8:45 to discuss any discovery issues that still make this. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. You all have a good day. Nothing else.
Thank you very much, Your Honor, and thank you very much, Mr. Prosecuting Attorney.
All right, thank you. All right.
Your Honor, I'm not sure if my messages are sending. I don't have any discovery issues and I am ready to send a discovery date. I'm just not sure if my messages are sending in the chat.
I'm gonna change your name. Attorney Walray, which case are you on?
Antoine Bolden.
Did she just say? That's it? No, she said.
Yeah.
Okay, who's here representing Mr. White? Alexander White.
Yes, ma'am.
What? I'm on Mr. White's case.
Okay, Attorney O'Mara, do you need to speak to Mr. White?
I've already spoken with him.
Okay, you just need a date?
Yes, yes, we're asking for that.
Okay. The clerk is going to provide a date on the chat if there's nothing to use on the record. Attorney Harris, good morning.
Good morning, Judge. I have Ms. Watkins for PCC.
And you need to go on the record?
Well, I want to set an exam date, so however you want to handle it.
I just want the clerk to provide a date to you all in the chat so we can start our exam.
Okay, I saw that you had some April dates in there, but you don't have times. Are you wanting to use those 3, 4, 5 dates, April?
Or April 10th.
Well, I could do the 5th in the afternoon.
Okay, I need the clerk, so the Zoom meeting isn't being held up for scheduling dates, I need to get this exam started. If the clerk and you all could just communicate on dates, I would really appreciate it today.
You mean on the telephone?
No, on the chat on Zoom. Just type
Oh, okay. I don't know where my client is, but I've been in contact with her on the phone. Okay, well, if the afternoon of the 5th is open, I can do that. So, okay.
And Attorney Steinberg, good morning.
Good morning. Happy Friday, Judge. How are you?
Sorry, how are you?
Good. I'm here on DeMonte Rush. We're here and he's ready to waive the preliminary examination. And
Okay,
ask this be bound over.
okay. And to the gentleman in the Wayne County Jail, what's your name, sir? You have to unmute your device.
Charles Hobson.
Say, oh, Charles Hop.
Charles Hobson, Your Honor.
Okay, your attorney isn't here yet, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
So I'm gonna put you on mute until she checks in.
Okay.
Thank you. And then after we do this waiver, then we can get to. Okay, this is the people of the state of Michigan versus DeMonte Rush, 2158909. Mr. Rush is charged with following: 1 count of weapons carrying concealed, set for an exam today. Appearances.
Good morning, Your Honor. Peter Kowinski appearing on behalf of the people, P84448.
And good morning, Your Honor. Mohammed Saban on behalf of Mr. DeMonte Rush, P83365. Mr. Rush is appearing via Zoom. Mr. Rush, may you please present yourself to this honorable court?
Good morning. My name is DeMonte Rush.
Good morning. I'm sorry, Attorney Saban, for always saying your name wrong.
It's okay. We'll get it one day. I'm not worried.
Okay, and is it correct your client would like to waive his exam today?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Rush, I'm going to ask you a series of questions. If you don't understand them, if you can't hear me, please let me know and I will repeat the question, okay?
Okay.
Is it your wish to waive your preliminary exam today?
Yes.
You understand you have a right to an exam?
Yes.
And that if you were to demand and have a hold today, the people will have to show at the probable cause standard, which is a much lower standard, but still a standard, that the charge I read off, carrying concealed weapon was committed in the city of Detroit and that you probably committed that crime. You understand that?
Yes.
And then by waiving your exam today, that means you will not have that opportunity and the people do not have to present any evidence today. You understand that?
Yes.
And knowing that information, you still wish to waive your exam?
Yes.
Okay. Did anyone threaten you or force you to waive your exam?
No.
Did anyone promise you anything for you to waive your exam?
No.
I find your waiver to be freely, understandingly, and voluntarily given. If there's no objection from the people.
No objections from the people, Your Honor.
Okay, I will have you bound over, Mr. Rush, for an arraignment on information in Third Circuit Court on March 31st, 2 weeks from today at 9:00 a.m. Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
None, Your Honor.
Okay. You all go have a good day.
Thank you. Take care.
Good morning.
Good morning. Everyone put your device on mute, please.
All right, I'm your house counsel. I'm you.
All right, everyone put your device on mute. We're going to begin the check-in process for checking in attorneys. Attorneys, when you check in, give your name, your client's name, whether your client is going to appear today or you're going to request a waiver. Also, if you think you're going to do a plea today, say so. I think I got one plea form. Talking to the lawyers. Everybody else is still. When you check in, if you think you're going to do a sentencing today, say so. I got one pre-sentence report. So if I didn't get yours, we may need to go scrambling. Better we find that out beforehand. Don't put anything in chat.
Wow.
We can't see it.
Mr. Harris, you're unmuted, just so you know. We can hear Deb Thomas.
We need you to put something in.
All right, so if you just need a date, the clerk is going to message you to get a date. If you need to go on the record, let the clerk know and we'll put that on the record. But if you just need a date for an exam, I guess I should ask, if you need a date or you need something else.
Hi, Judge. I'm just looking if, I'm just looking if I need to address bond today, Judge. That would be my request. He's in custody.
Okay, all right. So give us a moment. We have a plea to take and I think we'll get here.
Thanks, Judge.
Happy St. Patty's Day.
Oh, you found one? I was about to say they were emailing Mr. Kirker a form as well. Keep it in your record.
Atkins?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in custody.
Attorney Harris, how about April 4th at 2 o'clock?
I'm scheduled to be in Oakland Circuit that afternoon. If I take it the 5th is a problem, I got the 6th open and the 7th pretty much open. If we could go to those dates.
The court's closed on those days here.
Oh, the 6th? Really?
Yeah, opening day.
Oh, I didn't know the clerk was closed on the 6th. I know the 7th is Good Friday. Any way to get it in on the 5th?
We have the morning wide open.
Yeah, well, no, I'm in Farmington Hills doing an exam. That's the problem. And the 4th, I could do in the morning, but I'd have to be done. Well, that's a problem. The 4th in the morning could be a problem. And the 6th, the court's closed? Huh.
Yeah, because of opening day, we always have to close.
Oh, right. Yeah, opening day. Forgot about that. And then on the 10th, I got a jury trial scheduled in Oakland County, which might plead out, but right now it's scheduled. So.
You're a busy man, Attorney Harris.
Any chance of the 31st in the afternoon? Or the 30th in the afternoon?
See the 30th.
I got a trial in juvie at 11 on the 30th, and I've got nothing Friday the 31st in the afternoon.
The 30th works.
The 31st in the 31st in the afternoon?
The 30th.
Yeah, as long as as I said, I've got a juvenile trial starting at 11, and it'll probably be done probably about maybe 12:30 or so. So that's a Zoom trial. So can we do it maybe 2:00 on the 30th?
2:00 on the 30th. Perfect.
Okay, we'll see you then. I'll let my client know. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Okay.
Thank you, Judge. Ardeshay Monet. White. No, Watkins. All right, we are on the record. This is the people of the state of Michigan versus Brandon John Boyer, case 2260088. Mr. Boyer is charged with count 1, weapons, firearms, possession by felon. Count 2, weapons, felony, firearms. And this individual is under second offense notice, and defendant number 1. Brandon Boyer is defendant number 1. Set for an exam today. Appearances.
Alexander Kirker on behalf of the people, P86282.
And good morning, Your Honor. James Schloss, 30720, on behalf of Mr. Boyer.
Mr. Boyer, can you state your full name for the record, please?
Yes, Brandon John Boyer.
Good morning to you. Okay, today's step for an exam, but I have before me a settlement offer and advice of rights form. Is your client pleading guilty today to a misdemeanor?
He is, Your Honor. I've discussed it with him and his rights, and he's intends to plead out.
Okay. And I will go over the form here. It says that Mr. Boyer will plead guilty to one count of improper possession of a firearm in a motor vehicle, which is 750227B, is a 90-day maximum penalty. And the terms and conditions states probation, 12 months, and any other terms and conditions of the court. Any other conditions of the court will be posed if anything changes by Judge Bryant, who handles it.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to swear you in, Mr. Boyer. Raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And is it correct that you're going to plead guilty today?
Yes, ma'am.
And you did go over your rights with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm going to walk through all of them just in case, so that we can make sure you understand, okay? And you understand that you plead guilty today, that you are giving up your right to trial,
Yes.
and that you will not have the prosecutor does not have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt any of the charges that were read on the record.
Right.
Okay. And then witnesses against you do not have to clear trial,
Right.
and that several other things are here, that you have a court order, any witnesses you have for the defense to appear at the trial. So what you're giving up to right to trial, basically. Did anyone threaten you or force you to plead guilty today?
Not at all.
Okay. Did anyone promise you anything outside of the plea?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So I find your plea to be voluntary and willing. So I will have Mr. Kirk, I believe you want to write your claim?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Mr. Boyer, on May 6, 2022, were you at East 7 Mile in Mount Elliott?
Yes.
Is that in the city of Detroit?
Yes, it is.
Did you come into contact with the police on that day?
Yes, I did.
Were you in a motor vehicle?
Yes, it was.
Did that motor vehicle have a firearm in it?
Yes.
Was that firearm properly stored in the motor vehicle?
Well, what?
Your Honor, at this time the people are satisfied.
I'm satisfied as well.
Okay. So I will accept your guilty plea, Mr. Boyer. And at this point, I just need a date. I have to get that from Judge Bryant for your sentencing date. I can't schedule it, sorry, for the system based off her calendar. I believe the clerk went to go do that. So on the record, I don't have a date, but I'll get it for you shortly.
Will the sentencing be in person or is it by Zoom?
I think it's on Zoom. Let me see, I think they're calling just for. Did you know, Brian's not just Brian, so we're off the record. Attorney Watt, good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Your client's here, and let me see if anything has changed. Do you have any information as far as his,
I do. They did conduct the interview. The report's just not done. I think the interview was done. It was either the 14th or.
Okay, so that's good news.
And I verified that I received a call from the doctor at the forensic center. So I do know that the conducted.
Okay, so what do you think, 30 days? Okay. Mr. Hobson, we have your attorney, she's just having some audio issues.
Already.
Your Honor, can I say something?
I don't know if you should. You should probably wait for your attorney because I don't know what you're gonna say. It may not help you.
Okay.
Just hold tight on that.
It's, the other attorney is here. Oh, is she? Who's? Shit. I think we're the name. She the neighborhood defender.
Okay, I know she's thinking the time was perfect. I was talking away on mute. Can you hear me now?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so I heard you talked to the forensic center and confirmed that he was interviewed, but I didn't hear as far as which week you contacted.
He was interviewed, I believe, the 15th. And so they had asked that it be put a couple of weeks out for them to complete the report.
Okay, now do you want to do 2 or 3 weeks?
Why don't we just do 3 weeks just to be on the safe side?
I agree, so we won't have to do any more adjournments. All right, let me call the case. So we just inherited another case today. Yeah. Are we giving them any cases?
Ms. Watts? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Good morning. I will see
Good
you on
morning.
Zoom. I'll see you on Zoom.
Do you know, if, the, bribery and the Homeland Bank got waived over to, 36th District?
I'll talk to you about it on Zoom, okay? I'll make another appointment to see you.
Okay, you said that last time, you didn't even come see me.
I was seeing you when I said it, and that was a couple of weeks ago. That's what I told you I would be back. That was a couple of weeks ago, and I will.
Okay.
And of course, Attorney Watt, if you need a breakout room before we're on the record, I will of course allow for that. Okay. 2260265, people of the state of Michigan versus Charles Hobson. Mr. Hobson is charged with 1 count of police officer assaulting, resisting, and obstructing, causing injury with a habitual offender report. Offense notice set for a competency hearing today. Appearance?
Cora Watt appearing on behalf of Charles Hobson, Your Honor, P41508.
You put appearance, there's nothing, no stuff, put a date.
Peter Kowinski appearing on behalf of the people, P84448.
And Attorney Watt, is it correct that your client was finally interviewed?
Yes, Your Honor, that interview took place. It was either the 14th or the 15th. I received the message from Dr. Toplin at the Forensic Center.
Okay, and we're gonna set out 3 weeks just to make sure there's enough time for the report to be prepared, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So let's do, how about April 11th?
May I just check that, Your Honor?
Sure.
April 11th would work, Your Honor.
Let's do 9:30?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to go into a breakout room or are you all set?
I have a lot of different courtrooms, so I'm going to make a Zoom appointment again to speak to Mr. Hobson.
Mr. Hobson, your attorney's gonna make a Zoom appointment to speak to you when she has enough time to talk to you in detail, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you're all set, Mr. Hobson. You have a good day.
Thank you, Your Honor.
See you later.
Bye.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Have a good weekend.
You too.
Okay. Is there anyone else in the Wayne County Jail or free today?
Atkins. Or Atkins, I'm sorry, Kevin Atkins.
Okay, Atkins, yes, that's who we need. You had a phone back? Oh. And this is for Mr. Carter. Another Florida case. This is the case number. I put the exam date on the same date as the other one we just scheduled. I'll tell you about that. Thank you.
How you doing, Aaron?
Good, how are you?
Happy.
Are you Mr. Atkins?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Attorney Pilkowitz, do you need to speak to your client before we go on the record?
Kevin, are you ready to go, or do you need to ask me something?
I just need to ask you.
Yeah, Judge, if we could just have 1 minute.
Sure. Attorney Doc, can you hear me?
Good morning, Your Honor. Yes.
Are you waiving your client's presence today or waiting for your client to appear?
Yes, Your Honor. If I can I waive his presence?
Yes, have you been in contact with them?
I have not. This is not contact number. I'm gonna get my investigator. I just want to give him an ample chance so I could, hear his story and go from there.
Okay. Okay, we're on the record. This is the people of the state of Michigan versus Demario James Byers, 2060697. Mr. Byers is charged with 1 count of police officer assaulting, resisting, and obstructing. Count 2, license document plates forgery. Also count 3, which is a misdemeanor, operating a license suspended, revoked, and or denied. Set for a probable cause count. Mr. Pearson.
Alexander Kirker on behalf of the people, P86282.
Hey, good morning, Your Honor, and your honorable staff. Attorney Quentin Dox, P number 79657. On behalf of my client, Mr. Mario Byers, I'm asking the court to waive his presence for the purpose of this hearing, Your Honor.
I will do that. Any discovery issues?
No, Your Honor, I have received discovery, and so far so good right now.
Okay. Okay, we are in April already for exam days. That should be enough time for you to find your client.
Yes.
How many days do we get? Oh, Attorney Doc. Okay, how about April 5th at 10:30?
It works for me, Your Honor. Thank you. I appreciate you into the court.
All right. Anything else?
No, thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
Have a good weekend.
All right, you too.
All right, let's go on the record on Mr. Atkins. This is case 2355847, the people of the state of Michigan versus Kevin Atkins Jr. Mr. Atkins Jr. was charged with count 1, assault with intent to murder, count 2, weapons of a firearm, count 3, assault with intent to do great bodily harm less than murder or by strangulation, count 4, weapons of a firearm, count 5, assault with a dangerous weapon, felonious assault, and count 6, weapons of a firearm, set for a PCC. Appearances.
Alexander Kirker on behalf of the people, P86282.
And good morning, Judge, Neighborhood Defender Service by Jackie Pilkowitz, P81653, on behalf of Kevin Atkins, who is present on Zoom and consents to proceeding on Zoom. Kevin, will you state your name for the judge, please?
Kevin Andre Atkins Jr.
Okay, any discovery issues?
As of now, I don't believe so, Judge. I am in receipt of paper and digital. I will go through and make sure I have everything and follow up with the prosecution if I'm missing anything. Otherwise, we just need a preliminary exam date, Judge.
Okay. Since he's in custody, I will try to squeeze him in as early as possible.
Well, somebody call him, I guess. I'm curious. I was one of the national people, they come to meet us.
Early early. I can squeeze him in on the 27th at 11 o'clock.
That's actually that is a good day, Judge.
Okay.
If the court, does the court have, sorry, I just said it was a good day. Does the court have anything available on the 28th? I'm just wide open that day.
We have, let's see, 28th, 9 o'clock.
I can do 9 o'clock on the 28th.
Okay. Let me make sure I have this right. It's showing. Yeah, you'll be the first exam at 9 o'clock.
Perfect.
All right. So, Mr. Atkins, your exam has been set for March 28th at 9 o'clock in person at 36th District Court. Anything else?
Judge, may I address bond?
Sure.
Your Honor, Mr. Atkins' bond is currently set at 50,000 cash. For Kevin, who's 20 years old, and his family, that is essentially tantamount to a remand. They don't have that kind of money. I'm asking for a 50,000, 10% with GPS tether and house arrest, other than to go to and from work. Prior to his arrest, Kevin was working full-time at Dakota on Van Dyke in 94. He's been there for the last several months. He lives with his mom and his younger brother. Your Honor, I understand these are serious allegations, but aside from the allegations, he has several mitigating factors that I do believe warrant a lower bond in this case. And for those reasons, Judge, we are asking for a reduction at this time.
We would ask that the charges or the bond remain the same. These are pretty serious charges. And if there are any changes, we would insist on no contact.
Okay. So he had a bond redetermination hearing on March 10th in front of Judge McConico, in which he lowered the bond to $50,000 cash. Is there any circumstances that have changed since that bond hearing on the 10th?
Judge, only that I've spoken with his mother and she does not have the means to be able to post that 50,000. So he is going to stay in custody for the foreseeable future unless and until that bond is changed.
So what I will do is order a DSU report. Pretrial services who has more information, provide anything that shows that it should be lowered.
Understood, Your Honor.
Okay, that will be ordered. It may be ready by the time we have an exam on the 27th. If not, it'll be in the file, or if it's bound over, of course, to be addressed again.
Understood. And that's the 28th at 9, correct?
Sorry, yes, 28th. Thank you.
Great. All right, Kevin, I'm going to come and see you before then, okay?
All right, so I don't go to court again on
Until
Friday?
No, until the 28th. But I'll come and see you before then, okay?
All right.
Okay. Thanks, Judge. Have a good weekend.
You too. Thank you. You're all set. All right, no. This is a Okay, this is case 235554, the people of the state of Michigan versus Bernard Wilkerson. Mr. Wilkerson is charged with count 1, weapon, firearms, possession by felon, count 2, stolen property, receiving and stealing a motor vehicle, count 3, carrying a concealed weapon, count 4, police officer assaulting, resisting, and obstructing, count 5, weapons, felony, firearms, second offense, count 6, weapons, felony, firearms, second offense, count 7, weapons, felony, firearms, second offense, with an official offender report, the defense notice set for preliminary examination appearances.
Alexander Kirker on behalf of the people, P86282.
Good morning, Your Honor. Name Thunder Service by Summers Brush, number 85828. Hearing on behalf of Bernard Wilkerson, who is questioning the court. Mr. Wilkerson, please state your name for the record.
Bernard Wilkerson.
Good morning.
Morning.
Are parties ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Any preliminary matters?
Your Honor, at this time, the people have moved to admit pursuant to MCL 76611B1B, a certified copy of the defendant's previous felony charge of unlawful driving away conspiracy.
And have you provided that with counsel, defense counsel?
Sorry, Your Honor.
Has the defense counsel seen?
Yes, if I should assume the one. I have looked at it, Your Honor.
Any objection?
No.
It will be admitted.
Yeah, approach it.
Sure. Anything else?
Nothing from the people.
Okay, and just if there's anyone watching on YouTube who may be a witness on this case, now is your time to log off. With that, Mr. Kirker, you can call your first witness.
This time, the people call Officer Justin Hassig.
Okay.
Okay, that's where you. Just right across your mouth is the next one. Have a seat, right here, up in the front. Just make sure you speak up in the mic. And everybody, Mr. Kirker.
Good morning. Could you please restate your name for the record?
Officer Justin Hassett.
Are you currently employed?
Yes,
Where are you currently employed?
Detroit Police Department,
And in what capacity are you employed?
police officer,
And how long have you been employed as a police officer?
2 years and 3 months.
Were you employed as a police officer on February 8th, 2023?
I was.
Did you in fact work on that date?
Repeat that.
Did you in fact work on that date?
I did.
Were you by yourself or with a partner?
With a partner.
What is your partner's name?
Last name Owens.
Were you in full or modified uniform?
Full class uniforms.
Could you describe that uniform?
Blue uniform pants, blue long sleeve shirt with a Detroit Police Department badge, auto carrier vest.
And were you on foot patrol or in a scout car?
Scout car,
Is it a fully marked or semi-marked scout car?
fully marked scout car.
And did your duties as a police officer take you to an area at or near Alter and Southampton Road?
We were just on routine patrol.
Do you recall the location of that patrol?
I do recall.
Where was the area of that patrol?
In the area of Chalmers and Southampton.
Is that in the city of Detroit?
It is.
County of Wayne?
Yes.
And did you observe anything while you were on this routine patrol?
I observed, I was going northbound Chalmers, observed a trailblazer. That seemed suspicious by the way he was driving.
And when you say it seems suspicious, can you describe it?
Started to take off at a higher rate of speed than normal. Caught my eye.
And what did you do when you saw the vehicle drive at a high rate of speed?
I tried to catch up to obtain a plate. I could run the plate off the vehicle.
And were you able to run the plate on this vehicle?
Negative.
And what happened
I'm
after
sorry,
you?
I didn't hear you say that, really?
Negative.
Oh, negative.
And what happened after you were unable to read the license plate of this vehicle?
I went around the block to try to obtain a plate. Could not obtain a plate, so at that time I turned off from the vehicle and southbound on Chalmers. Returned to Southampton to continue routine patrol in the area. At that time, the trailblazer came down, can't recall what street, turned in front of me, going eastbound on Southampton. I knew there was a stop sign at the intersection of Southampton and Alter.
And did the vehicle stop for the stop sign?
No, I was trying to attempt, I told my partner we would get a plate at the stop sign because it's an intersection that I know would have to be stopped at. Told my partner we'd get a plate, try to initiate a traffic stop. The vehicle took off, we'll do a report for fleeing and eluding. At that time, attempting to catch up to the vehicle to get a plate. The vehicle disregarded the stop sign, went through the intersection, T-boned another vehicle.
You say T-bone, what do you mean by that?
Hit a car on its side.
And what happens after this vehicle collided with another vehicle?
My partner and I pulled up to the accident scene. My partner called it out over the air. I observed Mr. Wilkerson exiting the driver's side window that was broken out. He started running on foot. I pursued after Mr. Wilkerson on foot.
And when the driver was exiting the vehicle, did you make any commands at this point?
Yes, I told him to stop running.
And when you say Mr. Wilkinson, is there anybody in the courtroom present today that you came into contact with on that date?
Yes, he's in a green jumpsuit.
Your Honor, does the record reflect the identification of the defendant?
So reflected.
And so go back. So you made commands to this defendant when he was exiting the vehicle?
Yes.
What were those commands?
Stop running.
And about how far away from you, the defendant, were you when you made these commands?
The driver door of the vehicle.
I didn't hear what you said.
At the driver door of the vehicle.
Do you have a distance part from the defendant that you were?
I did not.
And roughly how many times did you make this command?
I don't recall. It was heat of the moment.
Did you make any commands several times?
I don't recall.
And did you pursue the defendant?
I did.
Were you able to catch up to the defendant?
I was.
And what happened?
We were running south down towards Alter. There's a wall in the parking lot. I pushed Mr. Wilkerson against the wall and I went to the ground. Started fighting at that time.
When you say started fighting, what do you mean by that?
Just trying to obtain his hands. He kept reaching. I was sitting on top of him. He kept reaching his waistband. At that time, I gave Mr. Wilkerson multiple verbal commands to stop reaching in his waistband. He did not do so, continued to reach, disregarded multiple verbal commands. At that time, I feared safety for my partner and I. I drew my primary weapon
And why did you fear safety at this time?
because there's a reason why he's reaching in his waistband. I felt that there was a firearm or some type of weapon that could cause my partner and I physical danger.
And you continue to make, or did you make any other commands this time?
I did. I kept giving him verbal commands, so stop reaching, through my primary weapon. I pointed at Mr. Wilkerson. At that time, he still did not give up his hands. I reholstered my weapon, continued giving verbal commands. At that time, assisting officers made the scene. We were able to get Mr. Wilkerson in handcuffs. And then I went to render aid to the victim in the vehicle that was struck.
And what happened after the defendant was detained?
The assisting officer searched them. I was not by them at that time.
I have no further questions.
Just have one question. You said primary weapon, what is it?
It's my Glock 17 that I carry on my side every day.
Department issued, department issued weapon.
This is not department didn't issue this one, but I qualified with the range.
I can't hear you.
Department didn't issue the Glock, but I qualified with it at the range.
Okay. Any questions based on?
No further.
Morning, Officer.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good.
So you were the driver. Double checking driving.
Correct.
But as when you first saw it, you did not activate your light siren.
Correct.
You testified that when you arrived at the scene of the car crash, you got out of your vehicle
Correct.
and you went directly towards the Chevy.
Correct.
And that's when you saw Mr. Wilkerson.
Correct.
You believe to be Mr. Wilkerson. Okay. And was the Chevy, it was heavily damaged from the crash? Correct?
From what I could see, I mean, all I saw from my view was the driver's side window broken out.
Okay. And you testified that you pursued Mr. Wilkerson
Correct.
for about 20 feet, right?
I didn't give a distance, but could approximately be about 20 feet.
How many seconds did the pursuit last?
I can't give an exact answer.
Yeah. But you were able to detain Mr. Wilkerson.
Correct.
And you testified that you were on top of him.
Correct.
And at this point, Mr. Wilkerson, right?
Correct.
He was screaming.
Correct.
He was in pain.
I can't determine if he was being or
Right.
not.
If you just got in a car accident, right?
His face was fully open, and I was sitting down on his midsection, which wouldn't block any airways or
You're sitting on
pressing.
his stomach or his chest, perhaps?
I'd say lower hip area.
Okay. And he asked for help multiple times.
I can't recall.
The real person ended up going to the hospital due to his injuries, right?
Correct.
He was transported.
Sorry, say it again.
He was transported to the hospital
Correct.
and EMTs were called by your department at the scene.
Correct.
And you testified that you pulled your weapon out because Mr. Wilkerson was grabbing his waistband.
Correct.
But you never felt a weapon on him.
Correct.
So you were on his waist, on top of him, and you didn't feel a weapon on him.
Correct.
How many other vehicles? So the car crash was at a, just like in a parking lot area? Or there were other cars parked in the area?
A few cars, I think one particularly in the lot.
Okay. If I could have one moment, Your Honor. And officer, when Mr. Wilkerson was detained, do you recall him asking about the other people involved in the crash?
Repeat that.
When Mr. Wilkerson, when you were on top of him, or when he was being handcuffed, at some time during detention, do you recall him asking about the other people at the scene who were involved in the car crash?
I do not.
No. Okay. And where was Mr. Wilkerson? Where do you think he was running?
Away from the police?
He wasn't running towards you?
No.
He wasn't running to ask you for help?
No.
But you were able to catch up to him within a matter of seconds?
As I met him at the driver door of the vehicle, he still tried to run through the parking lot with me holding on. That's why he didn't have a chance to get far from me.
No further questions.
I have no further questions.
Any other witnesses?
This time the people call Officer Matthew Banka.
Ready to go?
These are all B and C. B and C.
Make sure you speak up in the microphone.
Yes.
Whenever you're ready to start.
Good morning. Could you please restate your name for the record?
Yes, my name is Matthew Benka.
And are you currently employed?
Yes,
Where are you currently employed?
with the Detroit Police Department, Fifth Precinct,
And in what capacity?
patrol officer,
How long have you been employed as a patrol officer?
since May of 2021.
Were you employed in this capacity on February 8th, 2023?
Yes, sir.
Did you in fact work on that date?
Yes, I did.
Were you by yourself or with a partner?
With a partner,
What is your partner's name?
Officer Blessing,
Were you in full or modified uniform?
full uniform,
Were you on a foot patrol or in a scout car?
scout car.
And did your duties as a police officer take you to an area at or near Southampton and Alter?
Yes, sir.
And what brought you to that area?
We heard another scout car call out on the radio for extra scouts to come.
The area that's Alter and Southampton, though, is that in the city of Detroit, County of Wayne?
Yes, it is.
And what happened? Did you observe anything when you were responding to the scene of this call?
I observed, excuse me, I observed a car accident, and I observed Officer Hassick struggling with the defendant.
And when you say the defendants, is there anyone in the courtroom that you're referring to?
Yes.
Could you please point out that individual and identify the clothing that they were wearing?
Mr. Wilkerson. I do not recall what he was wearing.
No, what he's currently wearing.
Green suit, green jumpsuit.
Your Honor, let the record reflect the identification of the defendants. And so you said you saw Officer Hassick and the defendant struggling?
Yes, sir.
And what happened when you saw this?
So I ran over to assist Officer Hassick.
And by assist Officer Hassick, what do you mean?
I ran to the defendant's right side. I commanded him to remove his right arm from underneath him, and he eventually complied and placed handcuffs on him.
You say eventually complied. Did he comply right away?
No,
And what happened when you gave this official commands?
he was still reaching underneath him towards his waistband area, stomach area.
And how many times did you give these commands?
I don't recall, but more than once.
And did the defendant comply with any of the commands?
When I got specific, I said, I believe I said, give me your right hand, place your right hand behind your back. And he complied, and I put the handcuff on his right hand. And my partner assisted with the handcuffing.
And what happens after the defendant was detained?
Me and my partner sat him up, rolled him up into the seated position.
And what happened after that?
And then at that point, I observed a black semi-automatic looking handgun, pretty much right underneath where he was laying. And I made that weapon safe.
And could you describe that handgun?
I believe it was black in color, semi-automatic looking. I believe it was Smith & Wesson 380. And there was, when I made it safe, there was a round in the chamber, if I recall.
Were there any other rounds in the firearm?
There were rounds in the magazine as well, yes.
And as the defendant, he had valid CPO?
I did not know.
Was a lean search conducted to determine if the defendant, was a lean search conducted to determine if the defendant had a valid CPO?
Say that again, would you please?
Was a lean search conducted to determine if the defendant had a valid CPO?
I did a lean search on the weapon and it did not come back in his name. I don't recall if I did a lean search on him. I can't recall. I did that.
And when you said you recovered the weapon underneath, roughly how close was the defendant to where the firearm was recovered?
I did, when, once we sat him up, it was literally right there. I did not see it until we sat him up.
So was it within the reach of the defendant?
Yes, sir.
And was the weapon placed on evidence?
Yes, it was.
Do you recall the evidence tag number?
I did not.
Would reviewing your report refresh your recollection?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes, evidence tag number is 691-032-5 at the 11th precinct.
I have no further questions. Yeah.
Morning, officer.
Good morning.
So when you arrived at the scene, Mr. Wilkerson was already detained.
No, he wasn't detained. He was laying on his stomach, face down, and Officer Hassig was on top of him.
Okay. Officer Hassett was on top of this point.
Yes,
And so then you ended up coming to assist.
correct.
Okay. You, Mr. Wilkerson multiple times asked for help, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Told the officers that he was in pain,
Yes,
that he needed medical attention.
that is correct.
At one point he said he couldn't breathe.
That is correct.
And when you were in the process of securing Mr. Wilkerson before you found him, you didn't feel a weapon on this person.
No, I did not.
So it wasn't until after Mr. Wilkerson was set up that you saw a weapon on the ground
Yes, that's correct.
in this sort of parking lot structure.
Parking lot, yes.
Okay. No further questions.
I have no further questions. No.
Thank you all.
Yes, okay. This time the people call Officer LaShantia Oliver. Oliver.
Yes. Make sure you see it. Ready?
Good morning. Could you please restate your name for the record?
Officer LaShantia Oliver.
And are you currently employed?
Yes, sir.
And where are you currently employed?
Detroit Police Department.
And in what capacity? In what capacity are you employed?
I work for commercial auto substation.
And how long have you been employed in this capacity?
Over 4 years.
Did you have an opportunity to become involved in an investigation that occurred on February 8th, 2023, at or near Alter in Southampton Road?
Yes, ma'am.
And how did you become involved in this?
I was assigned the case to be the officer in charge.
And what was that investigation for?
The investigation was for cleaning and looting, possession of a motor or stolen motor vehicle and CCW.
And as part of the CCW investigation, did you conduct a lien search?
Yes, sir.
Was it on the defendant in the case?
Yes, sir.
That defendant Bernard Wilkerson?
Yes, sir.
And what were the results of that lien search?
After I conducted the investigation for lien, he was not a CCW.
I have no further questions, Your Honor. Rob?
I have no questions.
I just want to ask, what, probably say you work.
Commercial office section. Thank you.
Any other witnesses?
I have no further witnesses.
No witnesses. Okay. Everybody ready?
At this time, the people would move to bind over on count 1, weapons, firearm, possession by a felon. Count 3, weapons carrying concealed. Count 4, police officer assaulting, resisting, obstructing. Count 5, weapons, felony, firearm. Count 7, weapons, felony, firearm. And in addition, we would ask to add 1 count of resisting and obstructing with a felony firearm, and 1 count of felon in possession ammo, and a accompanying felony firearm as well.
And can you just clarify your argument to be for the resisting and obstructing?
The second one would be for Officer Matthew Bankett. And the first one would be for Officer Justin Thompson. As we heard from the first witness, he was following this vehicle, was acting suspicious, he traveled away from them at a high rate of speed. Though he did not pursue with lights and sirens on, he did see this vehicle again. Vehicle actually collided with another vehicle. At that point, officers approached the vehicle. The first witness, Officer Hassick, described how the defendant climbed out of the driver's side window. He then gave commands for him to stop running. However, the defendant ran from him. He was able to make contact with the defendants. At this point, they were struggling. He made multiple commands for the defendants to stop reaching for his waistbands. These commands were ignored to the point where the officer had to pull out his weapon. Continued to give verbal commands to the defendants to give him his hands. Eventually, he was able to get the defendants to comply. At this point, he was also assisted by Officer Banka, who observed Officer Hassick struggling with the defendants. Officer Bankham himself made several commands for the defendants to remove his hands from the waistband. He said that they made these commands more than once. Both officers were in their fully uniform. Eventually, the officers were able to get the defendant into a seated position, at which point Officer Banka observed a firearm that he said was within the reach of the defendants. It was black in color, Smith & Wesson firearm, which he made safe. There was one round in the chamber, and there were rounds in the magazine. After the officer in charge conducted a lean search to determine whether the defendant had a valid CPO. The results were that the defendant did not have a CPO at this time. So this time, Your Honor, people believe that you met the burden of probable cause and would ask to bind over on the counts as charged, except for counts 6 and counts 2, as well as the additional charges.
Your Honor, we object to the bind over on all counts and also object to the additional charges. The prosecution is asking to add here. First of all, we begin with resisting arrest charges. Starting with Officer Hassick. Mr. Wilkerson has been in a car accident, gets out of the car, and is easily, Officer Hassick, based on his testimony, is able to easily catch up to Mr. Wilkerson. I argue that this first alleged act of resistance is not resistance here. When a person is involved in a car accident, is clearly injured, and is easily pursued and taken into control of by the officers. Now, in terms of the resistance, the alleged resistance when Officer Hassick is on top of Mr. Wilkerson, the person is in pain. If they cannot breathe, they have a common law right to resist that obstruction. When someone is, Mr. Wilkerson had been in a serious car accident. He has injuries on his face. He's asking for medical attention, and yet officers are still on top of him and holding the weapon at his face as he can't breathe, as he feels like he could be potentially dying. I'd also add that when it comes to Officer Menka's name, he comes to the scene later, and his testimony also shows that Mr. Wilkerson was asking for help, could not breathe, was in pain, based on Mr. Wilkerson's statements. That's not resistance. That's not resistance here. Now, if we go to the weapon itself, Officer Hassick testified that he did not feel a weapon on Mr. Wilkerson. He was on top of him on his waistband, he testified to. And it's not until Mr. Wilkerson is detained and handcuffed that they see a weapon in a parking lot where there are other cars around. There is not testimony that shows that this weapon was ever on Mr. Wilkerson's person, that he was ever in possession of it, or that he was in possession of that ammo that the prosecution is trying to have here. And no testimony that this weapon was concealed in any way. Even if it were on Mr. Wilkerson's person, there's no testimony that shows the manner in which he would conceal it. So therefore, I object to bind over on all counts with the felony firearms that are attached to felon in possession and to resisting arrest. So that's any rebuttal?
No rebuttal.
Okay. Court heard from 3 witnesses today, and I'm glad that people did not, or they were upfront as far as not having evidence for counts 2 and 6. I admitted he did not have the evidence for those two counts. And I will start with count one. I'm just gonna go down the information. Weapons, firearms, possession by felons. I believe testimony was provided from Officer Baker, who arrived on the scene after Officer Hackett was already present. And this will be a question of fact for the trier of fact to determine whether or not that gun was on Mr. Wilkerson's person. It can be inferred that it was. The gun was not present or did not see it. And then after Mr. Wilkerson was sat up, that the gun was right under his person, within reach. Where he at least had constructive possession of that weapon. So that will be sufficient for count one and count three, along with Officer Oliver's lead results. She testified that she searched for Mr. Wilkerson's status and found that he was not a valid CPO holder. Also for count that would satisfy count 5 as well, felon in possession of firearm, and count 7. So we're left with count 4 and the 4 additional charges that the people are wishing to add. Through Officer Hassick and Vinca, I believe that people have met the probable cause standards for assaulting, resisting, and obstructing. Through Officer Hassick's testimony, he testified that he, after Mr. Wilkerson T-boned the vehicle, that Mr. Wilkerson, as he described, exited the driver window and began running on foot, and that Officer Hassick told him to stop running at least once, pursued the defendant, he caught up to the defendant. At that point, I believe the probable cause standard was meant for resisting and obstructing as the defendant was running away. I believe if he needed help, I don't understand why he would run away from the scene. And Officer Hassick then testified that he pushed the defendant to the wall. They began fighting, and Officer Hassick was sitting on top of the defendant, Mr. Wilkerson, and the defendant began reaching for his waistband. And Officer Hassick told him to stop as he feared for his safety and believed that he had a weapon, which I do believe he did have. It was on his person and fell out. That would be for the trial of fact to figure out. And that he pulled out, Officer Hassick pulled out his primary weapon, which was his handgun, lock as he described. He pointed at the defendant and told him some type of command to stop reaching. And that's when Officer Banker arrived and assisted in handcuffing Mr. Wilkerson. So I am not going to add the 2 counts of resisting and obstructing for resisting, obstructing, and the felony firearm attached to that request for Officer Banker. I believe as he arrived on the scene, as he stated, once he made very clear commands to Mr. Wilkerson to put his hand behind his back, he did comply. However, for the felon in possession of ammunition and accompanying felony firearm charge, I will add those 2. I do believe there is sufficient evidence to prove those at the probable cause standard. So counts 2 and 6 will not be bound over. I will not bind over on the 2 requested for the resisting, obstructing, or the attached felony firearm, but I will add the felon in possession of ammunition as well as the accompanying felony firearm. So it's still 6 or 7 counts, but they are different counts. And I have a form here to that sign for the dismissal of the counts 2 and 6 for everyone's sign. Does Mr. Wilkerson have a pending matter or something else as far as why he's in custody?
Yes, he does have a pending matter in third circuit right now.
Okay. All right. So with that, I have gone over Mr. Wilkerson for the arraignment on the information. Your date will be March 24th at 9:00 a.m. Frank Murphy Hall of Justice. It's 1 week from today. Anything else? No, Your Honor. I have certified copy of the conviction. So this is interesting.
I'm just checking for. Oh. Yes, we are.
Yes, like they're here.
Yes.
Oh. Is everyone here on Walker?
Which Walker? Lamar?
Darius Walker? Sorry.
Defendant or attorney's not here. Well, there he is.
I think I heard the defendant showed up, but his attorney is not here.
Judge, I'm sorry.
I don't know, I could be wrong.
That's for Darius?
For Darius Walker, yeah.
I was like, that's not important.
Now, on the record is the people of the state of Michigan versus Lamar Earl Walker, 2355738. Mr. Walker is charged with count 1, weapons, firearms possession by a felon, count 2, weapons, ammunition possession by a felon, count 3, weapons carrying concealed, count 4, count 5, weapons, felony firearm, with an habitual offender court. This notice set for another examination here.
Alexander Kirker on behalf of the people, P86282.
And good morning, Your Honor. Alvin Salen, P23797, on behalf of Mr. Walker is present. Could you please identify yourself, sir? Lamar Walker.
Good morning. Good morning. Okay, are you ready to proceed?
We are.
The people are, yeah.
Okay. One moment. All right, any preliminary matters?
Yes, Your Honor. This time the people have moved to admit pursuant to MCL 766.11B1B, a certified copy of the defendant's previous felony charge of weapons carrying concealed.
And Attorney Stalin, have you had an opportunity to review?
I have checked it out, Your Honor. I have no objections for exam purposes.
Okay, it will be
I approach him.
anything else before we get started?
Nothing from the people.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, if there's anyone on YouTube who is watching now and may be a witness on this case, it's now your time to log off. With that, go ahead first.
This time the people call Officer Alexis Jones.
Officer Jones?
morning, I swear to you. I swear to tell the truth, the truth, and nothing. Yeah. Just have to see, make sure you speak up.
Morning, could you please restate your name for the record?
Officer Alexis Jones.
And are you currently employed?
Yes.
And where are you currently employed?
Detroit Police Department.
In what capacity are you employed with the Detroit Police Department?
Police officer.
And how long have you been employed as a police officer?
Since August of 22.
And were you employed as a police officer on February 26, 2023?
Yes.
Did you in fact work on that date?
Yes.
Were you by yourself or with a partner?
With a partner.
And what is your partner's name?
Larry Brady.
And were you in full or modified uniform?
Say that again?
Were you in full or modified uniform?
Full uniform.
Could you describe that uniform?
The one that I have on, blue, class B's.
And were you on foot patrol or in a scout car?
In a scout car.
Is it a fully marked or semi-marked scout car?
Fully marked scout car.
And did your duties as a police officer take you to an area at or near Grove and Schuylkill Street?
Yes.
That's in the city of Detroit, county of Wayne?
Yes.
And what brought you to that area?
We were there for a police run in the 12th precinct.
Did anything happen while you were on this police run?
Yes.
What happened?
We noticed a car going at a high rate of speed, before we were able to make it to our police run in 12th precinct.
And could you describe this vehicle?
A white Ford Taurus Fusion.
And when you say high rate of speed, what do you mean?
Speeding down the street. It was a Taurus or Fusion. It was the Fusion Taurus. I don't know if it's the same car, but it's the white Ford Fusion. Okay.
And what did you do when you saw this vehicle traveling at a high rate of speed?
We attempted to initiate a traffic stop.
And by attempting to make a traffic stop, what do you?
Turn on our lights.
And what happened when you tried to make a traffic stop?
The vehicle took off on us.
You say it took off.
It fled down the street without stopping and disregarding all traffic signals.
And which traffic signals did it disregard?
The traffic lights.
And did you pursue this vehicle?
No.
Did you see this vehicle at a later point?
Yes.
And what was that later point?
Passing, coming up on the side streets, we seen the car turn off. And once we looked over, we seen that car stop in the middle of the street.
And this was the same vehicle?
Correct.
And what did you do when you saw this vehicle? Yeah.
We initiated the stop in the middle of the street.
And did you make contact with the driver?
Yes.
Did you see the driver exit the vehicle?
The driver was outside of the vehicle once we got there.
And do you see anybody in the courtroom today that you came into contact with on that date?
Yes.
Did you point out that an individual and identify an article of clothing that they were wearing?
He's behind you with the black Nike sweatsuit on.
Your Honor, let the record reflect the identification of the defendants. And what happens when you made contact with the defendants?
Once we got out of the vehicle, he was already outside of the car, stating he messed up his car. And then that's when I asked him, I was like, is that because we're speeding down the street when we tried to do a traffic stop?
And what did the defendant say to that?
He said, no, you don't recall a traffic stop. And
what did you do after?
he asked him for his license, registration, proof of insurance.
And did the defendant provide you those items?
He attempted to go back into his vehicle, but we did not let him go back inside, and I asked him if it was okay if I grabbed it for him.
And why did you not let him go back inside the vehicle?
He was already outside the vehicle, and prior to, that was our planned vehicle. Per policy, we don't let them go back into their vehicle.
don't know what's in that car.
Pursuant to policy.
Right.
And so how did you obtain the license registration?
He gave me permission to go in his glove compartment to attempt to gain all the documents that I needed.
And just to go back and clarify, the defendant consented?
Yes.
And what happened when you attempted to obtain these items from the vehicle?
I went around to the passenger side to look for those items. I did not see them in the glove compartment at all. And I never found his information for the vehicle.
Did you observe anything else when you went into the vehicle?
Yes.
What was that?
A firearm on his seat.
And when you say on his seat, what seat are you?
On the passenger side seat.
Could you describe that firearm?
It was a silver and black. Smith & Wesson.
And were there any other passengers in the vehicle that you observed?
No.
And what did you do after you observed the firearm?
I asked him if he had a CPO.
And did the defendant provide a CPO?
No.
Did you recover the firearm?
Yes.
What happened after you recovered the firearm?
After I recovered the firearm, he attempted to flee from my partner.
You say attempted to flee. What do you mean?
My partner was able to detain him and place him in handcuffs.
Was the defendant trying to run away?
Yes.
Was the weapon placed into evidence?
Yes.
I have no further questions. Go ahead.
Morning, Officer Jones, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. I just have a few questions. Were you, did you actually go into the glove compartment itself? You have to open that up?
Yes.
And you're claiming that there was consent to search?
Yes.
Before that time, and that would have been captured on your body camera?
Yes.
Okay, that was functioning at that time. That's correct.
Yes.
And were you so you opened up the car door, is that correct?
Yes, the passenger side.
Okay, that pursuant to your claim that there was consent, correct?
Yes.
And you went into the glove compartment, is that correct?
Yes.
It was after that point in time that you noticed the handgun on the passenger seat?
After looking in the glove compartment, I noticed the handgun on the seat.
Okay, now were you the officer who actually retrieved the handgun?
Yes.
Okay, and did you retrieve it in such a manner as to preserve it for any fingerprints on the gun?
What do you mean?
Oh, okay, so you saw the handgun.
Uh-huh.
What did you do when you saw the handgun?
I made it safe. I had a glove on, so I made it safe and placed my evidence afterwards.
Okay. You had gloves on.
Yes.
And then you made it safe for exactly what did you do?
I emptied the magazine out and just made sure no bullets were in the chamber.
Okay. And then what did you do?
We placed it on evidence after.
When you say, were you the person who placed it on evidence?
Yes.
Okay, and specifically, how did you do that?
We go into the precinct and it's the whole system inside the computer. We do our firearms report, we do our sun guard report, and we place all of those things inside of the envelope and we transport the weapon to the 11th precinct.
And at all times when you went the firearm, you had your gloves on, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And do you have any information with respect to this case that the handgun was checked for any late fingerprints?
No.
It's my understanding from your report that you filed as a result of this incident that it was, the defendant indicated was his girlfriend came down?
Yes.
Did you get a name of the girlfriend?
You're not getting that.
I don't know where it's.
Briefly. Just to clarify on making the gun safe, you said you removed any ammunition
Yes,
from the weapon. Was there any ammunition in this weapon?
yes, we had a 15-round magazine, and one of the bullets were in the chamber of the weapon.
And were these live rounds?
Yes.
No further questions.
Nothing further, Judge.
Thank you. Any other witnesses?
I have no further questions.
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Whenever you're ready, Mr. Kirk.
And at this time, the people would move to bind over on all counts. This will be count 1, weapons, firearms, possession by a felon. Count 2, weapons and ammunition, possession by a felon. Count 3, weapons carrying concealed. And count 4 and 5, weapons felon firearm. They heard from the witness, while they were responding to another scene, they noticed a vehicle, a Ford, either Fusion or Taurus, traveling at a high rate of speed. That they said caught their attention. They noticed it flee down the street, disregarded several traffic signals. They attempted to initiate a stop initially, were unsuccessful in doing so. However, they saw the vehicle turn down the side street, come to a stop. At this point, the witness, Officer Jones, made contact with the driver, the defendants, pursuant to the department policy. After asking for license, registration, and proof of insurance, they asked them to not step back in the vehicle based on fears of what could be in the vehicle or further fleeing from officers. The defendant then consented for the officer to search for license, registration, and proof of insurance. While looking through the glove box for these items, which the officer did not find, she did observe a firearm on the passenger seat. She described as a silver black Smith & Wesson. At this point, the officer recovered the firearm, making it safe, which involved removing many rounds, which the officer said there were 5 rounds in both the chamber and the magazine. The officer then asked the defendant if he had a valid CPL, and the defendant did not provide a valid CPL at this time. People believe that they have the burden of probable cause, and we will divide over this.
Question of fact, Your Honor.
One question I did have was answered here the testimony as to whether or not the connection could be made between the defendant, the person who was driving the vehicle, the person identified as the defendant who was standing outside the vehicle, and testimony shows that Mr. Walker did say, "I messed up my car," which shows that he was likely the person driving that vehicle when Officer Jones and her partner were trying to stop him. Second question I had was answered based off of Officer Jones' testimony, and that would be a question of fact. I know counsel has questions about that, whether or not the defendant gave permission to receive the documents out of the vehicle. At the time, that is when Officer Jones did see in plain view of the passenger seat a firearm. So I do believe people have met their burden of proof for all counts. Count 1 being a possession by a felon, that was a certified copy of conviction entered. Count 2, there were live rounds of ammunition in that firearm. Count 3, weapons carrying concealed. The weapon was concealed in the vehicle. There was no other passenger, plain view, and at minimum, it could be argued Mr. Walker had constructive possession, and then the 2 felony firearms that accompany possession by felon and possession of ammunition. So with that, I believe people are back to work. Mr. Walker, I will have you bound over to Third Circuit Court 2 weeks from today for your arraignment on the information. It will be March 31st, that's a Friday, at 9:05 a.m.
Yes, ma'am.
Bond is continued. Anything else, further?
No, Your Honor, thank you. It's a pleasure seeing you. Have a good weekend. Mr. Darius Walker, the OIC claims that she saw this gentleman in the hallway, but when she saw one of the officers supposed to testify,
Okay, we're on the record as the people of the state of Michigan versus Wilbert Lewis Eli, 2355467. Mr. Eli is charged with count 1, police officer fleeing 4th-degree vehicle code. Count 2, police officer assault, resisting and obstructing with the habitual offender enforcement notice. Also charged on case 2355762 with count 1, controlled substances, possession, cocaine, heroin, or another narcotic less than 25 grams. With the habitual offender enforcement notice set for exam as well. Appearances.
Alexander Kirker on behalf of the people, P86282.
And good morning, Your Honor, Madam Clerk, Madam Court Reporter Jonathan Roberts, P86428, on behalf of Mr. Eli, who is present today. Mr. Eli, could you please state your name for the court?
Wilbert Eli. Good morning to everybody. All right, is everyone ready to proceed?
This time the people are not, Your Honor. We have the officer in charge present for both cases who informed us this morning that the necessary witnesses for different reasons are unavailable. We would be requesting an adjournment for understanding that this is the date of the exam.
On that basis, Your Honor, we would be moving for a dismissal without prejudice on both cases.
Okay, can you divulge into the many reasons, or is it just a blanket request based on what's not being available?
On the first case, one of the officers who's necessary is on furlough until next week. On the second case.
On the other case, I have the necessary officer. Actually, it's been brought to my attention that very recently she was in an accident and she is currently recovering. She's going through physical therapy. She's been not too long ago in the hospital, so she's definitely, it's been brought to my attention, she's currently disabled. So that being said, that may be good cause to have this hearing, this case adjourned.
And Your Honor, I would just note for both of these cases, there are multiple officers. So for the resisting and obstructing, there were 2 officers on the scene, both of them based on the body cam or precedent witnesses. For the second case, there were, I believe, 5 or 6 officers. 2 were plainclothes and 3 or 4 were in full uniform. So I understand that perhaps there are some of the officers for these cases that might not be available, but insofar as there are multiple officers who could have been available and are not here today, we'd still be moving to dismiss both cases without prejudice. And, you know, condolences to the officers who seem to have had some unfortunate accidents.
Okay, so I'm not in the position to tell the people how to try their case or who they should be calling. So I will allow for the adjournment on Officer Sarah Kalicki, is that the person?
Kalicki, yes, Your Honor.
So I believe that's a good cause for not being able to appear today. We've had several cases where defendants needed medical attention or in the hospital, and I did not case them. So I am giving the same leeway to Officer Kalicki so that she can get better. Do you have any idea what her recovery looks like as far as time?
I do not know. I got the officer in charge here as well. You might know a little more.
Can you put your name on the record, please? Sure. Okay, so no clue.
No idea.
Spell that officer. I'll spell her last name off. I have it written down here. Kalicki. Is that correct? All right, so. You think that information can be retrieved in the next week or so as to what her recovery looks like?
I can find out by.
Okay, the prosecutor. So now, since I'm giving the adjournment, do we want to set this for a PCC for a week away to see what the recovery looks like, or do we want to set it for another exam?
We can set it up for another PCC just to see what the recovery looks like.
Okay. Okay. So without delaying to today's 17th, how about coming back on the 21st? And we're 8:30, 8:45.
Could I just request that, Mr. Eli's presence be waived? He has.
Sure. So 3:21 and 8:45 on case 2355467. And then for the second case, I am going to dismiss without prejudice as fence is ready to go. And this is the first notice, I believe, of unavailability. And of course, if the people want to reissue, they do so. On case 3555762, I will be dismissed without prejudice. Okay, anything else?
Nothing from the people on this case.
Nothing from the fence, thank you.
All right, you all have a good rest of your
Mr.
day.
Butler.
Okay, here is Walker. Case 2259071, the people of the state of Michigan versus Darius Javon Walker. Mr. Walker is charged with one count of weapons carrying concealed, set for examination.
Good morning, Your Honor. Peter Kowinski appearing on behalf of the people, P84448.
Good morning, Rebecca TFLP 62311, on behalf of Mr. Darius Walker, who is also present.
Mr. Walker, please state your full name for the record.
Darius Javon Walker.
And when we're ready to proceed.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor. Okay, any preliminary matters?
No preliminary matters.
So if anyone watching on YouTube that may be a witness on this case, it's now time for you to log off. Thank you for your first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, the people call their first witness to the stand, Officer Marco Cervantes.
Officer Cervantes.
Please swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Yes, Your Honor. Okay, the door is in front, and have to make sure you speak up.
Good morning, Officer Cervantes.
Good morning.
Could you please restate and spell your name for the record, please?
Officer Marcos Cervantes. Marcoscervantes, V as in Victor, Antes.
Thank you, Officer. And are you currently employed?
Yes.
In what capacity?
I'm a Detroit police officer.
And how long have you been employed in that capacity?
4.5 years.
Were you employed in that capacity as a Detroit police officer as of August 8th of 2022?
Yes,
On that date, were you patrolling on foot or in a scout car?
a scout car,
Was scout car semi or fully marked?
semi,
Were you in full or modified uniform?
modified,
Were you alone or with a partner?
with a partner,
On August 8th, 2022, who was your partner?
Officer Harvey.
On August 8th of 2022, were you in the area of South 4th Street and Schaefer Highway?
Yes,
Is that in Detroit, Michigan?
yes, sir.
Is that in Wayne County?
Yes, sir.
What brought you to that location?
Routine patrol of the area.
When you were in that area conducting a routine patrol, did you see anything?
Yes,
What did you see?
I observed a black Chrysler 200 with illegal front window tint.
What did you do upon seeing that vehicle?
At that time, I was advised that the vehicle had no insurance, and I initiated a traffic stop on the vehicle in question.
With that, when you initiated the traffic stop, did you make contact with the driver?
Yes,
Is this driver anywhere in this courtroom today?
yes, sir.
Could you please point him out and identify a single article of clothing that he's wearing?
Yes, sir. He's in the first row. He's wearing a black shirt, white mask.
Let the record reflect that the witness has identified the defendant. Now, Officer Cervantes, during the traffic stop, what did you learn about this driver or the defendant?
At the time, I learned that he had did not have insurance because he had missed a payment.
When you learned that information, what did you do next?
At that point, I had him exit the vehicle due to not having insurance, and detained him pending investigation, placed him in handcuffs, and walked him to the front of the scout car.
After he was taken to the scout car, did you do anything else?
I stood by with him while my partner ran his information on lien.
Okay. Were there any kind of searches that were conducted?
Due to the fact that he had no insurance, it was determined that the vehicle was going to be impounded, so I completed an inventory search of the vehicle.
What does an inventory search entail?
Inventory is just going over the vehicle, checking inside the vehicle, personal belongings, and notating different items that are inside the vehicle as well as damages.
Describe exactly where in the vehicle did you search?
Just the passenger compartment of the vehicle, and there was a backpack inside the vehicle from where he retrieved information from, and that's where I recovered a firearm.
Okay. This firearm that you discovered, was it loaded?
Yes, sir.
Where did you recover it from?
A backpack that was inside the vehicle.
Where was it located?
The backpack was in the back seat when he was reaching for information. Then he brought the backpack to the front and continued to look for the documentation that I asked him for.
I wanted to ask a question though. I should have asked a few questions ago. Were any documentations provided?
He was able to provide me with registration from the backpack. However, he was not able to provide me with any proof of insurance.
So just to be clear, it was a proof of insurance.
Reg-
That was not provided, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now jumping forward to going back to the inventory search. Said you discovered a backpack that had a weapon, correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you know if the defendant had a CPL?
He advised me that he did not have a CPL.
Okay.
Early, he did not have a CPL either.
Was this weapon placed into evidence?
Yes, sir.
Was there an evidence tag number?
Yes, sir.
Could you recall the evidence tag number?
No, there's no, sir.
Would seeing the report help refresh your recollection?
Yes, sir.
1 second. Let the record reflect showing to opposing counsel. Permission to approach a witness. Officer Cervantes, just Sir, what did I hand you?
You had in my report, the incident.
Is the evidence tag number of the weapon recovered in it?
Yes, sir.
Could you please read the evidence tag number?
Yes, sir. 680798-1.
Thank you. No further questions.
I just have something I need to clarify. Officer Cervantes, you said you learned that the defendant did have insurance based on this claim. Cheat to the defendant?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and this is why he was sitting in the vehicle and you walked up to the vehicle?
Yes, Your Honor.
I didn't quite get it. Any questions based off of my question?
No, nothing further.
All right, Ross. Thank you, Judge. Officer Cervantes, did you personally search the passenger compartments of the vehicle?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And where was this backpack when you found it?
When I began to the inventory, it was in the front seat, on the front passenger seat.
Okay. And what type of weapon was inside that backpack?
It was a handgun.
All right, can you describe it?
It was a black and silver 9mm Smith & Wesson.
And did you personally bag and tag that evidence yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Walker was cooperative during this process, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
That's all I have for you.
We're good?
No, nothing further from the people.
I have one question. Was there anyone else in the vehicle?
No, he was the only occupant of the vehicle.
Any questions based off of that?
Nothing further.
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Any other witnesses from the people?
No additional witnesses from the people.
Any from the bench?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm sorry, I was about to play.
Kowinski.
I know, but I was gonna say Klokowitz, but that's the defense attorney today. Who's the Klokowitz? Whenever you're ready, sorry.
Oh, thank you. Your Honor, at this time, the people move for a bind over to circuit court on count 1, carrying a concealed weapon. The testimony that you heard today from Officer Cervantes is both officers saw a vehicle with a tinted window and furthermore learned that that vehicle was uninsured. Upon making a lawful traffic stop, they learned that the driver did not have the required proof of insurance. And during that time, they asked him to step out of the vehicle and detain him. And they were going to tow the car. Before doing that, they were gonna do an inventory search, and it was during the inventory search, which entails, again, searching the entire vehicle, all contents, all belongings. And during the course of the inventory search, Officer Cervantes discovered a handgun that was in a backpack. It was in the lead system and the defendant's own admission that he does not carry a CPL. Officer Cervantes was the one that recovered the weapon, placed it into evidence upon learning the information that the defendant does not carry a CPL. And therefore, the people respectfully ask that this case be bound over to circuit court on count 1, carrying a concealed weapon. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Your Honor, the defense objects without argument.
I do believe people have met its burden of proof here today for probable cause standards. As Officer Cervantes testified, the initial stop was due to what he believed to be illegal intent. The defendant was driving, and once approaching the defendant in the vehicle, who was alone in the vehicle, discovered that the defendant did not have insurance. And at that time, Officer Cervantes made the decision to impound the vehicle based off of not having insurance to operate that vehicle. And during the inventory search of the vehicle, found a black and silver handgun in the backpack that he testified that the defendant reached for initially to just try to find his documents for insurance. The defendant stated based off of Officer Cervantes' testimony that he did not have a CPL, which was confirmed through a lien search. Therefore, I believe it has met the burden of proof for the one count of carrying concealed weapon in the motor. So I will have you bound over, Mr. Walker. You are out of custody, so your arraignment on the information will be 1 week, excuse me, from today. So it'll be March 24th at 9:05 a.m.
Nothing further, thanks. Thank you so much, Your Honor.
Thank you. You're off the record.